त्रायते महतो भयात्
त्रायते महतो भयात्
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिर्
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिर्
एकेह गुरुनन्दना
एकेव गुरुनन्दना
बहुशाखाहिनन्तश्च
बहुशाखाहिनन्तश्च
बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाः
बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाः
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
हरे राम
हरे राम हरे राम
राम राम हरे हरे
राम राम हरे हरे
ज्ञानतिमिरस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 39, 40, 41. So, till now, we have seen Krishna is giving, and that's what Krishna is summarizing here. Can somebody read the translation of 39?
Thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pratha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
Yes. So here Krishna is now summarizing what he has said so far. He is saying that so far the knowledge I gave you was an analytical study. Analytical study, you understand, right? You give analysis. What was the analysis Krishna gave? Yes, you're not the body, you're the soul. So he gave various examples. See, within the same lifetime, the soul changes bodies, right? Within the same body. What does happen? The body changes, but the soul remains same, right? It doesn't change. Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara, old age, youth, and childhood. Like this baby will grow up, right? One day, I'll be speaking Bhagavad Gita from here to all of you, and he will say, you were a baby when you come to this class, right? So the soul is changing bodies. So Krishna is giving these all analytical study to Arjuna. Then he says the properties of the soul, qualities of the soul. The soul can never die. You cannot kill the soul. You cannot burn the soul. Right? Nainam Chintanti Shastrani. And then he gives analysis also, analogy. What kind of analogy Krishna gave me, remember? Something related to clothes. Hare Krishna. My old friend has come. Yes. Yes. When these clothes go old, what do? You change the clothes. You don't cry. Today I'm wearing new dress. And when you don't start crying. You feel happy, right? Oh, today I'm wearing new dress. It's so nice. Right? So Krishna is giving this analysis to Arjuna that you're not killing Bhishma. Bhishma can never be killed. You're just killing the body, the soul is going to be killed. Then he also, last time we discussed, and he says even if you kill Bhishma, what's going to happen? Bhishma is going to benefit. Because if you kill Bhishma on this battlefield of Kurukshetra, what will happen according to Manusya Shastras? What is it? He will go to heavenly reward. Right? And then he talks about even about Arjuna also. He says even you get killed, Baba, you will go to heaven. And if you win, then you get to enjoy the kingdom here. So he's giving various analysis. Now here, this is the second chapter. And then says the contents of the Gita summarized. That's the top. That's the title of the chapter. It's one of the biggest chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is speaking right in the beginning who you are. That's the $1 million question. That's the first question spiritualists ask, who am I? If you don't know who you are, it is very difficult to make yourself free. Isn't it? If you have a guess, you just do not know anything about it. what does he like, what are his allergies. And yesterday I was invited by a devotee in Pune. I was in Pune yesterday. So he invited for us to prasad. And 2 days before only I got a message, are you, is family allergic to him? So they wanted to make sure that they know, because we're going for the first time. So in the same way, here also one must know your mind. If you think I'm the body, then that happiness may not last for too long. Sometimes with kids also, you give them one thing, in 5 years they become very happy after because that's not the real nature. So it's very important to understand who am I. So Krishna is giving it right here in the second chapter itself, right in the beginning. So the basis or the beginning of spiritual life is from this very question. Who am I? So there was a big scientist, they did in West Virginia University, they did a study. What are the ingredients of the human body? Blood, water, whatever. Chemicals, sodium, potassium, whatever. So I'm talking of 2000, maybe 1999. That time, it was rupees 110. That's roughly around how many dollars? $2. If you take inflation, might have gone 500,000. So the contents of the human bodies were just 1,000 rupees. But if somebody tells you, I give you 10,000, will you give your life? No, you don't give your life. Right? Life is invaluable. But the body itself is not much actually. If you put all these chemicals together. So it's much beyond chemicals. It's much beyond this thing. So that's where the existence of Soul Krishna wants to be. You're not the body and the soul. And now here, Krishna wants to give, it's actually a mercy. Sometimes when you see the size of the book, you feel doubtful, giving a doubt whether I will read it. So Krishna leaves some drops of nectar right here. And this is the exact point where Krishna just takes a little bit of a shift. An analytical study, and directly Krishna is saying now, read the first and second line of the shloka. Anyone? Buddhir yoge from Imam Shloho. Now hear about Buddhi Yoga. Now what is Buddhi Yoga? This Buddhi Yoga is nothing but Bhakti Yoga, which Krishna actually explains it later again in the 10th chapter. Dadami Buddhi Yoga. He says, I give you the intelligence by which you can come to me, for example. So here Krishna will actually go into pure devotion service or Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna will explain in the next verses. So this is actually, and in the next verse, anybody can read that translation?
There is no loss or diminution and little advancement on this path that protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Yes. See? Now Krishna is talking about there is no loss or diminution on this path, isn't it? And he says even a little advancement can protect one from the greatest type of fear. How many of you have fear, by the way? Do you have any fear in your life? Please raise your hands if you have fear in your life.
Fear.
Yeah? Okay, let's start here. Our student who has been completely out. Let's share one example. Fear of losing loved ones. Very, very beautiful. Yes, it is. It's a fear of losing our loved ones, right? Very good. Yeah. But it's there, right? And it's going to happen, we know it, right? So there's a constant fear. What else? Fear of what? So the realizations in the kitchen were very deep. And especially if it's a male. It's a male body, then realizations can go very deep in kitchen. Yes.
kind of inferiority to others.
There's a fear factor where you feel
Inferior.
inferior to others. Yes, it's always there. You know, sometimes you drive, one car goes past there. Oh. You feel like, oh. Yeah, it's a very relevant fear. Who else would like to share?
Fear of suffering, fear of next
You feel like fear of suffering, yes. You know sometimes that this thing I shouldn't have done. You know that. And then you feel like there will be a suffering. And you have a fear factor. Because you know the karma cycle. It catches up with you. Yeah, that's a fear factor.
You don't know exactly what you have done in your previous life.
That's another thing. At least in this life, you know, you sometimes don't know. This is another beautiful point that I really don't know what have I done. So you never know what's going to come in this life. And generally speaking, just because we are discussing this point, but sometimes people feel like, most of the time, it is your previous life karmas that are coming to you now. Let me tell you a story. We all like stories, right? Right. So Dhritarashtra's, how many sons he had? 100. Son, I asked. His children, then 101. He had a daughter also. So of course, losing one son, it's unbearable. Losing 100. So Dhritarashtra asked this question. Why? Why this happened? So the response was that 101 lifetimes before, he was a hunter. And he killed 100 children, these birds of a couple. And he was cursed that your 100 children, sons will die like this. Like we are crying also. But then he didn't have any punya to have children. So for 100 lifetimes, he did little punya to get one child. And in 101th, 101st, all of them were Krishna. You see? This is the law of karma. It's so subtle, it's so precise. You just cannot escape. And sometimes, even sometimes Lord, who's beyond karma, actually shows by his example. Like Krishna. Does Krishna need a guru? Ram need the guru? No. But when they come on this planet, they want to teach us by example. Right? We have a habit, right? Yad Acharati Shreshtas. Tattadeva Dharmachandra. Bhagavad Gita explains that general populace will always follow the leaders. If the leaders do it, so if the leaders are good, then general populace will flourish. So, sorry, I missed the point. We're talking about the Dhritarashtra, right? The karma cycle. So it's so precise. But also, for example, when Mother Sita hears Lakshman, Lakshman. You all remember this pastime?
Yeah.
In Brahma? So, Mother Sita tells Lakshman, you must right now go immediately and protect your brother. Lakshman says, go. I know my brother. It's not him. This is the demon I told you. This golden deer does not belong to the 84 lakh species. No. But you said, no, you want the deer. So Sita at that time says, oh, that was your plan. You wanted my husband to go away, get killed, so that you can enjoy me. Can you believe it? Sita says these words are like arrows which pierce the heart of Lakshman. When Sugriva gives the jewelry to Ram, and Ram cries, Lord Ram looks at Lakshman, says, Lakshman, can you recognize this? See, this is children of Sita. And Lakshman says, no. I never saw her bow her lotus feet. You see? And what is Sita telling you? Why are you here? Then he goes, Lakshman, right? And one of the reasons they say the banishment of Sita happened was an offense to Lakshman. So even when they appear, although Mother Sita is the goddess of fortune, there's no curse that can touch them. But they accepted to teach us that even when we come, we follow. It's so strict. So yes, there's a fear factor of what we have done in our previous lives. If you see astrology, like this, many people are very fearful. You were talking about being fearful. Rahu Ketu axis. So that axis is very powerful, and it's based on of your karma in your previous lifetimes. If it's in, say, what you call it, in the first and seventh house, they're always opposite each other. So if Rahu is here, Ketu is here. If it's here, it's here. It's always moving like that. They're never apart. So they're like this. Okay? So if they're here, Parashara Muni explains that that person might have done a lot of damage to somebody's household life. His household life axis gets activated in this way. You see? So that kind of fear is there. So we have various kinds of fear. What drives the cosmetic industry? Do you know that? By the way. Let the Mataji speak, yes. It's the fear of old age. You don't want to look old. Let's face it, right? We do all bodybuilding. Of course, one thing is to stay healthy, but the basic fear factor is that you don't want to go old. So here Krishna understands that. And Krishna has explained that. Swalpam. Swalpa. It's a very small step on this path of bhakti immediately, because Krishna is just giving the medication right at the beginning of the highest kinds of fear. He says, it will protect you. What? Not very big steps. Not unless and until you become perfect. No, Krishna says, Swalpam api asya dharmasya. On this path of devotional service, of Krishna consciousness, if you take even small step, it will save you or protect you from Trayate Mahato Bhayad. Not Bhayad, he says Mahato. Greatest kinds of fear will protect. Now you may say, now Prabhupada says very beautifully, and I think it's important that we just go through this purport. This is one of the most beautiful purports in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone would like to read it? Let's go. Somebody can read it. And at least 3-4 lines, and then we pass it on to somebody else.
A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perception of life.
Activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole
Please hear this with attention. This line, particularly. Yes.
Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished.
That's it. You understand this point? Very important point. Any activity, any work begun on the material plane. Sometimes the kids work throughout the year, they work hard for the exam. Unfortunately, on the exam day, they're not feeling well. What happens? You go to the teacher and only he was feeling well. Teacher says, nice. Pass. Does it happen? No. Those 3 hours are so important of things. Sometimes children I've seen, because of pressure, they're one of stress, they're not able to perform well during those times. Throughout the year they're very good. But what happens? You don't get the result. But Krishna consciousness, every single endeavor, even if it's not perfect, will give the result. You remember that, I don't know whether you used to have prepaid phone, I think they're still there. So you would charge 100 rupees, you use 50 rupees, then for next month, they would say, carry forward, right? And they would give a validity that in next 50 days you have to use it. So Krishna consciousness is something like that, but it's eternal bank account. So we're going to read that as well. Now, let's hold on to this particular point. In the material world, unless and until you finish the job completely, it's not considered to be success. We ourselves, we are parents, we see our kids working hard for the whole year, we still term him as a failure because he hasn't actually passed. It's a fact. But in Krishna consciousness, even a small step, that's what Krishna says, even a small step, he's not saying you complete it. Complete, so you're done, you're perfect, right? But even the small step taken, which means some portion of it, can protect you from the greatest kinds of fear. What to speak of those who are able to move forward, or walk, or go ahead in Krishna consciousness right now? How will Krishna protect them? When Arjuna's son, Abhimanyu, was killed, you know that story, right? Abhimanyu was killed. And when Arjuna came, and Arjuna was fighting somewhere else, very far, and he came inside and he looked at this empty seat of the sun. He was literally piercing everyone's heart. He was crying. Same Arjuna, some days before, he heard whole Bhagavad Gita. And you're not the body, you're the soul. He is crying. And he takes a vow. What vow he takes? That because of Jayadratha, my son was killed. He was the reason. Tomorrow, if I don't kill him, I'll enter fire. So Arjuna had this habit. Sometimes, when during the last yatra of Pandavas, they go to Badrikashram and they walk from there. And one by one, they start leaving their bodies. Draupadi falls. And the question is asked of the Yudhishthira, why did she fall? And Yudhishthira would say, why did she fall? And she said, though she was equal to all 5 of us, but she had little more affinity for Arjuna. So like that, Arjuna also falls. And that's why Yudhishthira says that he would boost a bit, to talk a little more than what he would actually do. Now Arjuna took this vow of, I will kill Jayadratha tomorrow. And then left. And went to his place to take rest. But Krishna is also in his place to take rest. Krishna has become restless. Because he's thinking tomorrow, Dronacharya will make such an arrangement that this person will not be able to. So he thinks, maybe I need to discuss this with Arjuna. So he goes to the shivir of Arjuna. As soon as he enters, Arjuna is sleeping. So the person who has taken the vow is sleeping. You know, sometimes, like some bache ko hota hai, maa bechari, mother and father are restless, and kid is sleeping inside peacefully. So Arjuna is sleeping peacefully, and Krishna is in anxiety. But when Krishna sees Arjuna sleeping, he goes very close by, and Arjuna's eyes closed. But when he's breathing, every breath that comes out, it says Krishna. When he takes it, you can hear the sound. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Sometimes people say, how does one remember God 24 hours a day? Most of the time, even in the night time, whatever activities you do during the day, that only thing normally you will dream of. Just in cooking, even in the dreams, you feel like, even in the dream also, just the cooking only is going on. And husband is starting the office, whatever. So then Krishna realizes, oh my God, Krishna says, be peaceful. Childhood is dead. So when you're surrendered unto Krishna, Krishna gets scared. So that's what Krishna is saying here. Let's go ahead on this. Can somebody else read now?
The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete.
Now the next line, please hear with very nice, very good attention. Yes.
1% done in Krishna consciousness yields permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%, whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there is no profit.
Yes. So, if when some big industrialist or big wealthy person leaves the body, what is the guarantee when he is going to the next life is going to be again born rich from that particular place? In 100 million, he'll start from 101. He'll start from 0. Not necessarily he'll start from 101. But Krishna consciousness guaranteed. And now you will say, how is this possible? Yes. So there's this famous king, Srimad Bhagavatam explains in the 5th canto. His name was King Bharat. This is the Bharat on which India's name is Bharat. Okay? It's not Shakuntala's son. Okay? There's one more Bharat Maharaj. So based on his name, India's name is actually Bharat. So King Bharat was a very powerful king. And when he finished his rule, and those days kings knew when to hang the boots. Today's politicians, they don't know. Even in the hospital, even in the jail, they still want to be the boss. So he made somebody who was qualified. He made him the king. He went into the forest. And while he was in the forest, he performed a lot of austerities. You can imagine a king living and living alone in the forest. And gradually his devotion, the fire, really got fired up. And there are various stages of devotion to Krishna. He went up to the level of 8th stage, which is known as bhava, where you have emotions for Krishna, you're crying, and you always remember Krishna. And beyond bhava is prema, that's it. From there you never come down. So one day when he was offering his prayers in the river, a lion was following a she-deer, was pregnant. So she got scared. So she ran towards the river, and while giving this birth to this baby, she died. And because he was a devotee, generally, devotees' hearts are very compassionate, so he took compassion on this baby and picked him up, took him to his hermitage, and took little care of her. And he would go around and choose some leaves. And so gradually, what happened was, it became a ritual, it became a habit, and gradually he got attached to this. This is how what happens with our kids also. When you do your lot of service, you spend time, right? That's where the attachment starts to build. Otherwise, the same attachment will not build for some other's child. But one day, this baby deer doesn't come. And he's not able to focus. He's always thinking about this baby. Maybe somebody ate him. Maybe there was some jackal or some lion or something. And he went out in the forest to search for him. And he had a big fall. And he died. What was he thinking? He was thinking about the deer. And immediately he got a body of a deer. Can you imagine? Such a exalted personality who had reached up the level of bhava, came down and became a deer. Now, because he was such an exalted personality, even in the body of deer, he remembered his last life. So he would go around to the temples and just be around the temples. Wherever rishis would talk about Ramayana, glories of Krishna, he would be around. And eventually he left that body and took another body of Jadabharat. That's the story for next time. But the point I'm trying to draw is, although he was at 98% in one way, 98%, He immediately started at 99. He didn't come back. He had to do it all over again. No. And Prabhupada gives an example here. Can somebody read the next one? Who hasn't read so far?
Ajamila performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord.
Yes. So Ajamil was a Brahmin in Kannauj, and he was a very nice Brahmin. He do worship of Vishnu and did everything what he was told to do, followed all the principles of bhakti. But one day while he was going to the forest to collect some flowers and paraphernalia for worship, he saw a low-class woman, a prostitute basically, embracing a man. And he saw it. When he went back, this vision didn't leave him. And actually he fell down with the prostitute. He had a relationship with this prostitute. He married this prostitute, kicked out his wife, his family, his parents, and he was growing old, and he was doing some thefts and some things like this nonsense to carry on with his family. But because of this previous good things he had done, even at a very old age he had a baby. But because of his previous good karma, he named him as Narayan, the small baby. Says, I guess he's somewhere around 80s. This is a small baby. And one fine day, the time came for him to leave the body. And who came? Yamadutas. And its description is properly given. Who comes? They are robed and they pull the soul out of the body, and soul doesn't want to leave. Right? It happens. But he was, because normally parents are very attached to the youngest one. He was a young child. And he said, Na, Ra. That's all he said. And Vishnu Buddha's came. Dazzling, effulgent, with 4 hands, Shank, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And these young Buddhas said, who are you? We've never seen you. You seem to be good people. Why are you here? This is the rascal. You eat not a drink. Vishnu Buddha said, no, he said Narayan. And they said, oh, we can play the tape for you. Rewind. Nara. And then they said, even if it's Narayan, he was not calling his son Baba. He was not calling Narayan. Vishnu Buddha said, we don't care. He said Narayan, that's it. Enough for us. That's the power of holy name of Krishna. The whole sync of his lifetime, he just said Narayan. People don't think our parents were stupid. They knew this art. That's why the names of the kids were not based on Shah Rukh Khan's movies. You see? What were the names? I'll start with my family. My maternal grandfather, Radha Krishna. Arjun Nath, his brother. Bhaskar Nath. Jagannath. You see? They were not stupid. They knew this idea. I want to chant God's name. Narayan, come here. And Lakshmi writes, chanted the holy names of Krishna. You see? So tell me your story. What's the name of your father, your uncles? Do you remember anything? Yeah, you were saying something, sorry.
No, I was saying Veera.
Meera.
Yeah.
Veera ji.
My maternal uncle's name is Om Prakash, Jai Kumar.
Jai Gopal, see? Such beautiful names. Now we have Rahul, Aryan. The family recently. The name names. So, this is the power of holy names of Krishna. And that's what Krishna says. So, and Ajamil had this little sukruti which he had done. And that sukruti, he named his son Narayan. And there's this big dialogue between these Yamadutas and Vishnudutas. Yamadutas saying, and they go back to Yamaraj later. He said, what kind of king are you? We thought you're the ruler of the entire universe. Nobody can, cross your jurisdiction. We're giving up our jobs, resigning. We better go to those fellows, with dazzling effulgent. And as soon as Ajamil, this dialogue finishes, Ajamil gets and realizes, no more cycle of birth and death, no more from womb to tomb. And then he gives up, he walks without looking at his family, goes to Rishikesh, Haridwar, and then he takes shelter from Vishnu temple. And here is a very beautiful comparative which Bhagavatam gives here. After some years, after he executes his devotional service, he is in the Ganga, Mother Ganga, taking bath, and he sees the same Vishnu Dutas. He can recognize them. These were the three who protected me that. Okay. And he looks and he smiles. He knows why they have come. They have come to take him, take his soul. Because that's the question the other people will ask you, outside people. So what? You will also die. Devotee also dies, Baba. And I will also die. What's the difference? The difference is who comes to take you. For him it will be Yamadutas. For devotees it will be Vishnudutas. It is said, Ajahn, the same person, this is how you perceive death. Please remember this, why I brought this point up. The greatest fear on this planet is death. And devotee does not fear death because the same personality which was fearful, who got scared when he saw them, when he sees Vishnudutas, he offers water and he tells the man ready. And right there, his body falls down into the Ganga and his soul goes onto this Vimana and goes to Vaikuntha. This is how a devotee sees death. Devotee sees death as a gateway to eternal life because he knows where is he going. When you know the destination, you're not scared. When you don't know the destination, you see those roads. Is it down to hell? Because devotee knows Krishna will protect. Avashraki of Krishna is one of the principles of devotional service. And this is the guarantee Krishna is giving you. You see? These are not mere stories. These are itihasas. This is Sanatana history. And the problem here is we don't know, which means our kids also know. And when they don't know, they're going to take shelter from something else. And then that will come as a shock to you, and then you say, and it's a conflict. So we have, as parents, we must give them, at least expose them to a certain degree that they can imbibe some of it. When they're sitting here in Kirtans, don't ever feel that this Kirtan or this chanting will not have an effect. It's like a fire. You may not know the analytical study of fire. What is the temperature? What is this? What is that? If you touch it, what will happen? It will burn you. Right? Devotion service is like that. Prabhupada explains actually in one class in 1973. In London, Prabhupada gave the same class in the same verse. And he said the same thing. Even if you don't know about anything about Krishna consciousness, you just participate by somehow or the other. It's like if you don't know about the fire, you touch the fire, you get burned. In the same way, all your sins, papas, you get burned as soon as you touch Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada gives an example. He says that sometimes these flowers, you see in the Arati, these flowers, where did they come from? Some trees, some plants. It is said that those flowers that get offered to Krishna, I'm just trying to create this impact of Krishna consciousness, bhakti movement, is that the tree from which these flowers came, that tree will also get benefit. He gets human form of life direct when something is offered to Krishna. Because the flower from that tree, you see. So this movement is not just for humans. You see. Now, the problem here in Kali Yuga is now it's more prevalent is because we have a best friend. Weapons of mass distraction. And Krishna has explained that in verse number 41. So who is the most distracted person must read 41. No, then I will already read this. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Gurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. You see? This is a very, very beautiful verse, very important verse of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is talking about one whose intelligence is scattered and one whose Eke Heku Nandana means who's fixed and resolute. Sometimes we see in our child, we see in ourselves also. When we scatter, what do you try to keep telling kids? Focus. Right? Focus. The child is doing everything, and sometimes he puts on the penalties and good. And he gets an English, mother comes back. He said, "Well, I said, you mathematics 5 minutes back. Now you're doing English. Next time she comes to social science." So Krishna also explained the same thing. The same qualities are required here. And Prabhupada very beautifully explains here. Verse, paragraph. Okay, which paragraph is this? Third paragraph. If somebody can read that paragraph. Yes.
The resolute purpose of person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudev Sharanam Iti Mahatma So Durlabha. A person in Krishna consciousness is a rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudev or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes.
Yes, continue. Now pay attention these lines which Prabhupada is explaining.
As by watering the root of a tree, one automatically distributes water to the leaves and branches, so by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, meaning self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied.
Yeah. How do you water? You have plants or own person. So what we do is simply water them. I don't remember which standard, I think it was 5th or 6th standard. There was a book in NCRT in English, and there's a story where the body parts are fighting with each other. All body parts fight. Eyes, hands, legs, tongue, everybody's fighting. And they say, we go on Bhukhanda. Strike. No more work. Because we are working hard, and the stomach, which is sitting in one place doing nothing, gets to eat everything. What nines are? Right? It's big injustice. So everybody goes on strike. Hands like no. Legs go just be at one place. But what happens gradually? The body started to become weak, and after some days they realize we have to play our role. Because once we put this food in stomach, we all get energy. Eyes can see, ears can hear, hands can move, legs can move. So in the same way, when you offer the water to the root of the tree, the whole tree gets nourished, right? You don't climb on the tree, spray water on the leaves or branches. This is what you do. It's the only living entity, by the way, who eats through his root. Isn't it? Srila Prabhupada asked this one time to his disciples. Which living entity eats by his feet? He said, feet? Nobody. Everybody eats from mouth. Prabhupada said trees. You water the root and the whole tree is nourished. So Prabhupada says here that as soon as Krishna is satisfied, you do something to Krishna, everybody is satisfied. Because everybody is a part and parcel of Krishna. So once Krishna is satisfied, I am also part and parcel of Krishna, I also become satisfied. Sometimes we ask the question, Prabhu, how do we know that Krishna is happy with my service? Right, Bhavya? We ask this question, how does Krishna know that he is happy with Bhavya? The first thing he will do is, Bhavya will become happy. Because she's a part and parcel of Krishna. The second thing that will happen is Bhavya will feel to do more service to Krishna. And number three, Krishna will give her the intelligence to improve her service. You see? Three things. You remember this? How do you know Krishna is happy? Number one, you will become happy, you will not become morose. Second, you feel to do. Like when you're a kid, you don't want to stop. That means you want to do good. And then Krishna gives the intelligence to be improve or do better. Okay? So this is the kind of a detour which Krishna takes here in Bhagavad Gita. Directly launches into the crux. He explains it further chapters again, 9th and 10th, but here he wants to drop some nectar for those lazy people who can't go beyond 2nd chapter. You see? So isn't it very beautiful? Right? Let's read these verses again, the meanings, before we close. Yes, anybody who has been spoken to her? 39. Verse number 39, can you read? Yes.
Thus far I have described this knowledge to you and demonstrated. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without results. O son of Eva, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from
Bondage of work. That is, bondage of work is the same thing what you said. When you do some action, there's a reaction. So there is no reaction here. And here, one thing which I wanted to highlight in this verse, he says, O son of Pritha. Bhagavad Gita is very scientific. Sometimes he says Dhananjaya, sometimes he says Arjuna, sometimes he says son of Pritha. When you say Mira, your mom, you're coming from that lineage, you're actually imploring her, how can you be so? Should I say that, Mira? You know, how can you be so mischievous? Huh? You see, you come from such an amazing family, right? He's trying to create this notion. So it's very scientific, see? It's not just two people are just having a dialogue. No, it's proper, it's scientific. And one place, yes, it's Pritha, because Kunti Goja, it's your lineage, you're a son of Pritha. Yeah, next one. Louder, please. Yes. And what is the most dangerous type of fear? Death. The last one.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. Both beloved Charity proves the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many
Is
branches.
many branches. Yes. So even here, but proper here, I want to add this last point. He mentions in the last paragraph, not last paragraph, second last, in this 41st verse, service in Krishna consciousness is however best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. Like I have learned it from my spiritual master. So we just pass it on. Prabhupada taught him, he taught all of us, many people, and we teach to all the other people, you see. So we talked about the various paramparas who are authorized to give this knowledge. You can't get it from anybody, just like that. No. Like you look for authorized schools, universities for your kids' education. So that somebody comes like MIT, Mobile Institute of Technology, or something like that. You won't get you won't admit your child there. Because it has to be affiliated with something else. So the same way, where are you getting this Krishna consciousness, knowledge of Bhakti Yoga from is also very important. I think we already discussed this, but if you have any questions on that, we can discuss it. But that is very important. And there's a beautiful verse which Prabhupada quotes here. It's one of the prayers we sing every day. Is Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasadam Yasya Prasadat Nagati Yayan Suvam Tasya Yasyas Nisanyam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravind. He says Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasadam. By the mercy of the Guru, one gets mercy of Krishna. That's the most important. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And are there any questions or comments before we do some kirtan and then jump?
I really feel like how she said most, or maybe like more than the fear of sexual tension, the fear of beloved ones.
That's true. But losing of the loved one is also the same process. The process is the same, is death. So Bhagavatam explains by the power of time, we meet each other, have relationships based on our previous life, and by the power of time again, we are separated. And the example is given in Bhagavatam is you see the waves of the ocean. And by the power of the waves, what happens? These twigs, grass, they come together for something, they float. Then again another wave comes, they separate. It's the same way for living entities. Husband, wife, your kids, like the same. You remember the pastime of Bali Maharaj? So Bali Maharaj, when Vamana Dev came, Vishnu came in a dwarf incarnation, very short time, but took Vamana. So what did he say? He said, Bali, I want three pieces of land, 3 steps of land. Right? Now when he entered the arena of Bali Maharaj, so Bali had a sister. When she looked at him, so beautiful. And she said, wish he was my child, I would have fed him one milk. It was so beautiful. But after some time, he became Trivikram. He took everything from Bali within 2 steps, right? And when she looked at him like this, then he actually kind of cheated. He said, wish I had poison, I would have fed you poison through my breast instead of the breast milk. So Krishna heard her. In her next life, she became Putana. You see? So what did Putana do? Putana came to feed poison Krishna. But Krishna is very merciful. When Krishna sucked her life air, Krishna actually sucked her that old envious nature, took it completely, and then what did Krishna do? Krishna gave her direct entry into the spiritual world, and she became an assistant of Yashoda. Where Krishna, because she's like a mother, right? So Krishna said, now you came as a mother to me. I accept it. But rest I will take out. So through her life here, she took out the worst part of her. But then Krishna said, just because you came to feed me breast milk, who does that? Mother. I'll make you a mother in the spiritual world. So she becomes a Datri. There are 7 kinds of mothers. One may say, will she replace Yashoda? No, nobody can replace Yashoda. But she becomes a Datri. She becomes an assistant of Yashoda. So they are also considered to be as one of the mothers. There are 7 mothers. Mother cow, from where you take birth, and Datri, like if somebody helps, raising you, she's also mother. Brahmana's wife, your teacher's wife, king's wife, Mother Earth, right? And Mother Cow, they are all mothers. So you see, she felt it like this. She had this desire. The Krishna fulfilled it, but at the same time gave up perfection. So even if there are material desires, sometimes Bhagavatam explains, that it's better to come to Krishna. Akamo sankamo, moksha kamo dharma. Whether you're full of desires, whether you don't have any desire, or you want moksha, you come to Krishna. Because when you go to the demigods, devata means to give. They're there to give. So once you please them, they will give you. What happens with this? They don't care, because they're not responsible for that. They ask for a lottery, a big car, and they might even give you a big car. Then unfortunately you meet an accident. You see? But Krishna sees. If I give you a car, let me an accident. I'll not give it up. I'll not give the lottery. You're supposed to get a lottery. No. Somebody will then. So, my devotee, I need to protect. It's like a father, right? Your kid tells you, Papa, give me this. Oh, Papa. I'll not give it. Kid may think, what kind of rascal is he? He tells me, I love you. I tell him, give me iPhone. He doesn't give me. You see? Krishna is like that. Not that Padosi ka uncle. Uncle, chocolate, yes, but your Varmaji's son, please take. He doesn't know what to do, but he has. That's why one must come to Krishna always. Okay? So we'll chant one round of Hare Krishna mantra. Mind will go hither, hither.